Etrian Odyssey is a series of games first starting release in 2007 on January 18th with Etrian Odyssey, and the latest game, Etrian Odyssey Nexus, was released August 2nd of 2018. In my opinion, Etrian Odyssey kind of feels like the unloved middle child of Atlas games. That and Radiant Historia, but that's my incredibly personal bias. Atlas is mostly known, from my observation, for the Persona series and the Shin Megami Tensei series, though I've seen mentions of Catherine and Trauma Center tossed around in more longtime fans of the studio. I first got introduced to Atlas games playing demos on my 3DS, through Etrian Odyssey Millennium Girl and Conception 2 Children of the Seven Stars. That latter one gave me so many questions that I, as a little child, wanted absolutely zero answers to. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of Atlas fans out there, or even people who aren't necessarily fans of the studio, who love Etrian Odyssey. It's just that y'all were too quiet. Here's my propaganda as to why literally everyone should play these games. The main premise and gimmick of Etrian Odyssey is the dungeon mapping. The base plot of every game is relatively the same across the series. There's a giant sprawling labyrinth nearby and it's super dangerous. Anyway, can you make a map of every single floor for the government? Thanks! And on the surface, that may not sound appealing until you really get started with it all. A large part of my love for this game is how you play in general. Aside from the mapping part, which already sounds like fun to me and I'll discuss in more depth later in the video, you get to pick and choose from a list of classes and make your own guild. You get to name each member and pick what positions they take in battle, and you can choose what skills you want to spend points on with each level the character reaches. Not to mention that it's all turn-based combat, which is my favorite kind. It kinda reminds me of playing D&D, but without the dice rolling. Of course, there's ideal strategies for every game, but the best part of Etrian Odyssey's guild making and battles for me is that you can pick however you want to play and find a way to make it work. There's so many enemies with different strengths and weaknesses that it's fun to mess around with the lineups and see how you can overcome each challenge. You can make a well-balanced team and try and cover all your bases, or you can slap 5 protectors in your party and laugh as every attack only nicks away at your health bar. It's entirely up to you, the player, and I really love that versatility. As someone who hates trying to keep up with the meta in just about every game, it's really nice to me that I'm not exactly punished if I'm not perfect in my gameplay. That's not to say this game is easy though. No, this game can be pretty brutal. Even on the easier settings, you definitely have to learn how to strategize with some battles. Maybe it's due to my party of choice, but I found I never got anywhere just trying to brute force my way through tough enemies. Quick saves have really been my best friend while exploring, so I can quickly backtrack and rethink my approach after getting my ass handed to me on a silver platter. You can also have multiple save slots if you feel like trying something new on a different save without jeopardizing your main. You know, the JRPG classic. But I've never played above a normal difficulty, and I'm wondering if I'm struggling this much with a normal difficulty, how much harder is hard mode? I can't wait until I have the confidence to try it. Now, there is a bit of a drawback to all of this that I should mention before I start glazing this game again. As someone who gets a little impatient and tends to drop games if I get stuck for too long, this game is very grind heavy, and that's not for everyone. Some enemies need you to be around a certain level to even have a chance at beating them, and you just kind of have to fuck around and figure it out. No matter which game in a series you play, you'll definitely have to spend countless in-game days grinding battles to level enough to even take a proper stab at some of the bosses. But to counter that, there's nothing wrong with looking up some strategy tips either. Lord knows how many times 10-plus-year-old GameSpot forum threads have saved my ass during playthroughs. And with the expiration too, since the earlier games don't mark hidden passages that are pretty crucial to gameplay. Don't be like me and slowly walk tile to tile facing the wall waiting for a prompt to show up. This gameplay style can really drag sometimes, so I definitely understand that it's not for everyone and can take a lot of time to really get yourself into. Back on my bullshit though, it's time for me to start glazing again. And this is my second to last point, but it's kind of a 2-for-1 with the mapping and the music. To start with, the first-person camera lends itself well to a feeling of immersion with the exploration and mapping. It makes you feel as if you're actually looking around in this labyrinth, inspecting different pathways and drawing them on your map. It's so much more appealing than the idea of a top-down camera watching your characters like some disconnected figure. You're not just a bystander here. You're the leader of a guild with a heavy task on your shoulders and a long, rough road ahead of you. It all blends together for a really fun way to lose yourself in the story. There's a lot of different icons for map making too that don't have clear defined meanings, so you can use them however you want to. I mean, I'm pretty sure they all have meanings, but there's never a tutorial telling you which icons mean what, so you can just do whatever you want to, however you want to, whatever makes sense to you. It adds another layer to this game's whole play how you wanna feeling that makes me really happy as a player. I mentioned music being another part of this, so let's dig into that a little. This entire time, my background music has been different tracks from the games. Isn't it nice? Don't you love this? I know I do. There's just something incredibly nostalgic about the sound font for these games, even in the HD remasters. The classic JRPG hero music just feels so easy on the ears, and honestly, I never got tired of listening to the music while wandering through the labyrinth. I feel each track captures the stratum you're in, advertising its enemies and mysteries just by singing its little song at you. If I can be pretentious again. Even the battle themes do a great job of this. Reminding you that, hey, while this area is pretty and fun to poke around in, you have a job to do. I especially loved the boss battle music for this. One of the more impactful fights from the late game of Etrian Odyssey, which I won't play for spoilers from the song title alone, really makes you realize that this battle will change everything. And gods, I fucking adore that. Yuzo Koshiro, the composer of the entire OST, holy shit, did such an incredible job making the music for wherever and whatever you're doing. From talking at the tavern to shitting your pants in front of a giant flower lady, you're bound to be feeling exactly what the composer and game devs wanted you to feel. Now, you may have noticed I didn't talk a lot about the story, and that's on purpose. The story of Etrian Odyssey is vast and obscured, unlocked the deeper you delve into the labyrinth, and if I recall correctly, each game is connected in some way. But I'll be honest, I haven't finished one of the games yet to tell you just how deep those connections are. I've loved the bits of the games that I've played so far, namely being the aforementioned demo, to the third stratum in Etrian Odyssey 3, The Drowned City, and to the start of the final stratum in Etrian Odyssey Remastered. But I've never completed one of the games before. That's entirely on me though. I would just get too impatient and restart my saves entirely, or just not play in favor of other games with more instant serotonin. But now that I'm 22, and now that I've tempered my patience for grinding, I'm finding myself getting more and more interested in pushing through the crawl to see how the story pans out. I'm seriously on the edge of my seat with everything that I'm learning as I go deeper and deeper into game. Etrian Odyssey's story, in my opinion, is best experienced when you know nothing about it. All I can tell you is that you have to make a guild and make some maps, and the rest is up to you to figure out. I really, really want other people to play these games and talk about them and learn just how fascinating this game's world really is, but I don't think I could hook you the same if I told you about the story. The plot feels like one that would be spoiled if I told you anything about that, and I actually love that for the writing. I want other people to see what I mean for themselves. And with that, I rest my case. I may not have made the best arguments for my point here, but hopefully you had fun listening all the while. this is my first scripted video, so sorry not sorry if it's painfully amateur. Why don't you subscribe to see if the next one will be better? 1 like equals 1 kick in my ass to put it out faster. That'll be all from me. Thanks for listening to me yap.